Maga Mac Birds 365 here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Damn, hit that like button. Like Jeff Kerr. I like Jeff Kerr. We hope you like Jeff Kerr. Hit the like button and help us out with our algorithm. Jeff Kerr is coming to us from, is that your hotel in Orlando? You still down there, JK?
Oh, I'm still down there. I've been in Lake Buena Vista since Friday, and I've been in Florida since last Wednesday.
Yeah, Disney World last
Did
night.
you high five
how
Mickey?
did that
Did you
go?
give him a high five? Go,
Yeah.
Mickey. Go, Mickey.
I did do some high fives with Chip and Dale though. I did see Scrooge McDuck, so I was pretty excited about that.
Did
too.
you get the Mickey ears? Can you put those on for us?
No, I don't have the Mickey ears. I bought stuff, but not Mickey ears.
That's disappointing. And I would have loved to see you sitting next to Nick Sirianni with the Mickey ears yesterday. That would have been tremendous. We'll move on from there. Jeff Lurie yesterday, Nick Sirianni earlier yesterday, Howie Roseman the day before. You've been there for all of it. What grabbed your attention more than anything else? What was one thing that was said that either you were surprised by or disappointed by or ticked off about or just elated by? Was there something one of the three big power brokers of the Philadelphia Eagles said that grabbed Jeff Kerr by the short ones and made you go, wow?
I mean, stuff I've heard out there, I don't think they're ready to part with Haason Reddick just yet.
Really?
I think if they get an offer, a good offer, they'll do it. But they're just not going to give him for pennies on the dollar. I think they're trying to find ways to keep him happy and still try to trade. I really don't think they know what they're going to do, but if worse comes to worse, they keep him. And quite honestly, I think they should keep him. And Nick even said yesterday a couple times when you were talking about the pass rushers, he always mentioned Hassan's name in there. So they're going to mention him until he's.
He mentioned him last, though, didn't he? He kind of got to Haason, and he was like, oh, I forgot Haason. That's how I kind of took that.
Yeah. You know what? You don't catch it until after he says it. But yeah, that was one. The whole "we don't value running back" comment from Howie Roseman, I thought was pretty interesting, considering they did pay Saquon Barkley a lot. And I know how he was being sarcastic there because he was talking about Brian Westbrook, he was talking about LaShawn McCoy, but the running back position was more valuable.
Yeah,
when LaShawn McCoy was there.
I don't like that spin, Jeff, because we all know you used to pay running backs. That's not the point. Since you're the one who built 2 Super Bowl rosters. I say during the Howie 2.0 era, he helped devalue the position. Let's be honest, because he showed everybody else you could build Super Bowl rosters without paying that particular position. Everybody copycats. And I brought this up, if you want to give Howie credit, market inefficiency, so we could take advantage of it when the right player came along. Is he playing 3D chess? Did we give him that much credit?
I think he is. He always does seem to be playing chess when everybody else is either trying to play chess or they're playing checkers. So now it's, okay, DeAndre Swift got this much. We have the cap space. Why don't we go get a guy like this who wants to come here? Saquon wanted to be an Eagle. I just didn't think the Eagles would actually be interested in him. And then everything just kind of happened, and it's a whirlwind. That's all everybody wanted to talk about was Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, he's a weapon. He's special.
It's crazy. So I was sitting right next to Dan Quinn yesterday before I went to Nick, and no one asked him about anybody in the division. And the quarterback, it was everybody. He knew what everybody was trying to do. Okay, let's butter me up here, and then we'll go to quarterback. I think he actually liked the Brian Johnson question I gave him. What gave you what? How did I word it? I'm trying to remember how I said it now. But what gave you the impression that Brian Johnson would be the right guy for A, your offense, and B, develop your quarterback? And he went on this 5-minute spiel about Johnson, and I said, is Brian Johnson going to help you pick your quarterback, or is he going to give you the decision making? And that started the whole collaborative effort thing. And he was talking about him, Adam Peters, Brian Johnson, Cliff Kingsbury. It seems like they're the 4 that are going to find the right guy. And
it's going to be JJ McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
that's BS. I think you were getting BS yesterday, Kerr. I think you're part of that misinformation crew. You were giving stuff lead you down a path to make you go JJ McCarthy. Not happening.
I don't think it's going to happen. It's still
Good
going to
on
get
you.
so.
You're not buying if they're selling. Good for you.
No, it was funny because John Keim actually joked. He said, "Why can't Williams falls to number 2?" And Quinn just winked at him.
Okay.
So, hey, Quinn's a good guy, but Dable, he was slammed yesterday. John, you would have enjoyed it. There were 15
struggling.
Yeah, there were 15, 20 people at the Eagles media table. There might have been double that right next to him at the Giants yesterday.
Really? Wow, that's rare.
That's not usually the case.
Yeah.
No, but everybody just wanted a piece of why everything went so bad. And he got so many Saquon questions. He got so many, like, what's he doing? What are they doing with this team? So many Daniel Jones questions.
They had such a good start. I thought they were going in the right direction. Brian Daboll, Joe Shane. Now I'm like, oof, I don't know. It's not going to last much longer. You got John Maris already saying stuff about Daboll. Just, it's not going to end well.
Your boy JG, I felt bad for him. There were like 2 people at his table. I just walked right up.
Nobody cares.
Yeah,
he loves it. He'll love that.
I know he loves it.
Yeah.
JG's all right with that.
Yeah.
This is how much he loves it. So everybody's done. He's still talking. He just goes up. I'm getting breakfast. He just goes up, gets breakfast, starts, shooting, and then he just sits at a table with media guys. He's like, there's some more questions. I'm more than happy to answer them.
He's a good dude. I tell him.
Steichen was like that too. Like, no one cared about the Colts. Those 2 are in perfect situations.
Hold on. Let me take a scoop of my scrambled eggs, but I'll answer your question. I can see Gannon doing that. All right. I want to get back to your Haason Reddick thing because Mike Gill was on with us before you, and he said the Eagles have been great in managing the cap, and you can evidence that by the fact that they've never had to cut anybody. Someone that we really, truly believed they liked, but they had painted themselves into a salary cap corner and had to let somebody go and get nothing in exchange for him other than cap relief. They haven't had to do that in a long time. When was the last time the Eagles had a guy who was in camp, holding in, holding out, call it what you want, the rules change, so the way the players act changes as well. If they don't give Haason, if they can't come to an agreement with Haason on some kind of reworking of his deal, like they did with Josh Sweat, and they say, Haason, here's the opening day camp. We kind of expect you to be there. That's not going to go well. That's not going to play well. That's not going to be Haason say, yeah, I'm a good soldier. I'll be there. I don't buy that. I don't believe that. When was the last time the Eagles had a guy that really was an issue in camp because of contract situation?
Was it T.O.? Was that the last guy?
I'd have to think about that.
I can't think of anybody in the Roseman era.
Well, I can't think of anybody recently.
Deshaun, I guess, kind of forced it, but they paid him early.
Yeah, they usually do a good job with that stuff. And the rules have taken care of a lot of it. Haason was the closest thing last year, which is more of like when he showed up with a groin injury. We're all wondering if it was a hold in, as Jody pointed out, because you're not going to hold out. And nope, 3 days later, it was back at practice. Yeah, they generally do a good job with that stuff, I would say. Now, they do lose players. Last year, they lost a bunch of players. Now, that was part of their whole plan. We're going to lose a bunch of players coming off the Super Bowl.
The way Gil asked the question, to be fair, was cut a guy, not resign a guy.
I know.
Yeah, you're right. That a whole bunch of guys last year, they chose not to resign, and they paid the price for it.
When they cut a guy, it's usually because they're ineffective. Like they might cut James Bradbury post June 1st, depending on what happens in the draft or what they can do in the market, trade, something of that nature. They may cut him, but they won't cut him because they have to cut him. They'll cut him because of it didn't work out. He didn't play well.
It's so funny that you went to Bradbury because that's how they got Bradbury. The Giants didn't
Yes.
really want to cut Bradbury, but they got in a cap mess and somebody had to go, and Bradbury ended up paying the price. So there was an exact example of it up the turnpike with the Giants, cutting a guy you don't really want to cut purely for cap purposes. The Eagles have not done that much over the last several years. That's to their credit.
No, they're good at it, and that's why I constantly Howie's a good GM, and part
And
of it
even
is,
when they don't cut, they're able to find a trade partner, a la Carson Wentz.
well, I tell Jody all the time, and he can tell you, they don't sign bad contracts. So when every contract you see is not a bad contract from every single one. Is not
Those void years, baby. They
Now,
help out big time.
It might not work out because the evaluation of the player might be off, but it is not a bad contract from a bookkeeping. I always say, from Jake Rosenberg's standpoint, he's in charge of this stuff. No one's going to him and saying, boy, that's a terrible contract, Jake. He's doing his job. The personnel people, the evaluation, that's the more difficult part. And sometimes those contracts don't work out because the players don't play up to their perceived abilities. So it's kind of different.
Agreed. You got to balance those two things. And I think the Eagles have had a great balance between the evaluation and the structuring of the contracts. So, Jeff, you may sound like they're going to keep Haason Reddick. Here's what scares me. Have you heard any? And I'm on CBSSports.com all the time, and yourself and other good NFL writers have thrown some Haason Reddick interest rumors out there. Why do I think none of them have any traction? That I think it's just picking logical teams that let's tie him to Gannon, let's tie him to Steichen. Are Arizona and or the Colts ever going to actually put a decent offer on the table? I'm not feeling it these days.
No.
I think they're caught between a rock and a hard place when it's on the Eagles.
Yeah. They're waiting for him to what John said. Cut him. And they can get him for nothing. They're not giving it. They're not giving it. Exactly. They don't have to cut him. So work something out. You worked something out last year. You gave him a little bump, and he has a $21 million cap hit this year. I don't know why you can't do it.
I think that's going to be the end game, Jeff. They're going to work out a reworked 1-year deal, essentially, where it gets a bunch of guaranteed money up front, and then I'll hit free agency next year. I think that's the more likely scenario because we saw L'Jarius Sneed. What did he get? A 3rd-round pick, a future 3rd-round pick.
Yeah, they ain't got much for him.
No. So but then I start thinking, all right, now you have Haason Reddick and Josh Sweat's back, and he reworked his deal, and Bryce Hupp is here, and you want to get Nolan Smith involved, and BG's still here. And now all of a sudden they're talking about Zach Bond like he's Andrew Van Ginkel. At what point is it too much at one?
Do you think the Eagles knew the kickoff rule was changing, and that led to the Zach Bond thing? Because now all of a sudden you have an athletic pass rusher / linebacker who's really good special teams. Oh, and by the way, they changed the kickoff rule.
I think everybody knew. Eventually they were going to get it through. I think a lot of people thought it wouldn't be till May, but yeah, I think most thought it was going through. So that's it. Yeah, maybe, who said, maybe it's the next Ike Reese, and Jody asked me that question. I said, no, under the previous rules. And I said, no, not because of anything dismissive of Zach Bond. There's no opportunity to be a great special teams player when there's no kick coverage.
But there's going to be kick coverage. It's going to be different, but there's going to be kick coverage.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, there is. There's going to be a lot more returns now.
Now it's going to be more important, and it's going to be more important upon the kickoff returner as well. And maybe Paris Campbell, maybe he fits in there as well. So it becomes more important, special teams. And I like that, by the way. That's one of the positives to me of the NFL's owners meeting. I like the new kickoff.
All right, but here's where the Eagles may have missed out. Both of you guys, specifically John, because I know he talked them up a blue streak over his career. Cordell Patterson signed.
Yeah, he
yesterday
signed
with the Steelers.
Signed
How'd the
right
Eagles
away.
not get him? Johnny Mack comes out here singing his
Well, he's
praises
old.
all the time. Greatest kick returner in the history of
No,
the
he is.
NFL.
He
It's
is,
now
man.
back in
He
play,
is.
and
He
Eagles had
is.
a chance to get him.
I have never seen a kick returner like that. He actually won a game because Chip Kelly wouldn't kick to him. Literally wouldn't kick to him. He won the game. Didn't do anything. Won the game. They started every drive at the freaking 40.
Yeah, he just wouldn't kick.
Yeah.
I remember that game. Chip just it was 2013, right?
Yeah.
When they played the Minnesota.
I mean, yeah, he wouldn't kick to him. And by the way, it wasn't a bad team. But there's a guy, yeah, I do. Because he's that manufactured touch player that drives me insane that people talk about all the time and they never get him involved. And he's another guy I talk about. But as a kick returner, man, he's good. The old school. I don't know how the new school is going to look. But he's a 7-time All-Pro just because of kick returns.
7-time All-Pro, has the most kickoff return touchdowns in NFL history. I know they put Devin Hester in, but that guy's got to get consideration when he's done, right?
All decade team, all because of kick returns. But that's it. Yeah, I don't think that's a Hall of Fame player. I think I can't put a kick returner in there. Maybe it's not fair, but that's the way I feel. But if one should be in there, it should be him. He's the Justin Tucker of kick returners.
We always joke about this at CBS. Like, we look for guys that are going to, not get page views, but, are going to get engagement. He always gets engagement, no matter what we write about him. If he doesn't touch the ball, if he does touch the ball, the year he broke out in fantasy, we couldn't write enough about him.
Yeah.
And he was out there for the getting, and the Eagles didn't. The
Was.
Steelers did. I am surprised.
9 kickoff return touchdowns, by the way. And half of his career under when he barely was able to return kicks because everybody just kicks it out of the end zone.
Right, they don't give him a chance. And
By the way, John, what do you think teams are going to do? Do you think they'll still kick it out of the end zone, or do you think they'll actually kick it to the returner?
I think they'll kick it to the returner. I was looking at some of the XFL stats because I'm a loser.
I had to do it yesterday too. So
both you losers.
And they did a good job covering them. And it, to me, it becomes, an analytical thing for NFL teams. If you get past the 30, they'll start kicking it out of the end zone. If it doesn't, and they can cover them, they won't. And I think the XFL numbers were very rarely did you get it out past the 30 or 35. So I think it depends on how successful they are.
Touchback comes out to the 35 now?
30.
30.
30.
Yeah, one year.
Yeah.
That's what they were voting on. So Monday night, I was told it was pretty much all going to be approved. It was they were determining where it was going to be the 30 or the 35.
Yeah. It was originally going to be the 35, and then they moved it to the 30, is what I heard, to get it through because people were concerned about the 35.
Yeah,
and then they're going to put the vote next year.
If the way you're describing it, John, is true that they had to move it back just to get it passed, they lessened it. They should have kept it at the 35 to try and make the kicker. And the kicker's going to have new responsibilities. The perfect placement of where to put it to try and get it covered is going to be huge. I'm with you. I think they'll tell the guys, listen, screw the NFL. Kick it out. Kick it to the goalpost. We'll start playing defense at the 30.
The Packers might do that.
It might have been a difference.
The Packers might do that if they can get a better kicker than Andrews Carlson. They're about ready to move on from him.
Okay.
They signed Greg Joseph, who Mr. Inconsistency. By the way, Daniel Carson, tremendous kicker. What happened to Anders? Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Jeff Kerr, I brought this up with John. I brought it up with Mike Gill earlier. When Nick Sirianni said, when I hired Kellen Moore, and he did it kind of definitively, it grabbed my attention. He didn't say we, he didn't say the Eagles. He said it, and he didn't say, and I hired Kellen Moore. No, he said, and I hired Kellen Moore. He's like taking ownership of it. But then afterwards, he said, Kellen's in, Kellen's working hard. What's the offense going to be like? I don't know. Don't ask me, Mr. Competitive Advantage. Was that the whole relationship between Kellen Moore, how he got the job, how he got hired, what he's doing, what he's going to do? Is that not confounding to you?
Jeffrey Lurie even doubled down on it, saying, well, this is how I pick a head coach, and this is what I do, and this works for us. I have never picked a head coach outside of one guy who was a play caller. And I'm like, all right, Jeff, you can cut it a bit. So, but yeah, it's almost like Nick is the Josh Harris of the Eagles. He's just going to sit back and he'll talk when he has to talk. And, Kellen Moore was Nick's all about the player relationship. I guess that's what Jeffrey Lurie said. That's what Howie Roseman said. That's what Nick said. So I guess he kind of knows what's going on with Kellen Moore. I just think every time Nick talks, I just think he gives us a bunch of what.
He certainly did. He admitted, and to his credit, he was in full competitive advantage mode. He said, "I'm not giving you guys anything about the offense. I mean, just to give you a heads up. Not that we."
He does that off the record.
I know. I know. So that part, but Jeffrey did really talk up the coordinators. And that to me puts more of expectation on Nick Sirianni as far as being a lame duck. They better win some games because Jeffrey Lurie seems to think they have two great offensive and defensive core.
He is convinced they significantly improved at both those positions.
Yeah. And they did defensively, probably offensively. They definitely did defensively. But again, it's personnel first. Now, the Eagles have a ton of personnel on the offensive side. Defensively, there's still a bunch of stuff to figure out. And I would say of the two, if you said, who's the better coach, Vic Fangio or Kellen Moore, I'd say Vic Fangio. If you ask me who's going to be more successful, I'd say Kellen Moore. Players first. Players. Are the Eagles good enough to live up to the expectations Jeffrey Lurie set yesterday, which were pretty large? Now, he's not under oath, as I always say, but if he was talking, it's basically Super Bowl or bust from what he said. We got to get back to where we were and better. What's better? Winning the Super Bowl. You got to the Super Bowl. Are they good enough?
Not right now. Offensively, I think they're good enough to win a Super Bowl, even without Jason Kelce. Defensively, I'm not sold on what they did at linebacker. They keep Haason Reddick, I'll feel a lot better about this team. But I like the CJ Gardner-Johnson move. I still think they could add another safety in there. I'm fine with them bringing back Slay and Bradbury because of who they got behind them, guys that developed last year. But I'm concerned at linebacker. Again, it's okay, you're banking everything on the Kobe Dean and Devin White. That's awesome, but you need something back there.
Zach Bond.
No, I'm joking.
Zach Bond's going to rush the passer, John.
I know.
You know this.
I know.
And you know what I love? You know what I love there, John? Jeff Kerr combined Sam Bradford and James Bradbury and came up with Sam Bradbury. Never heard that one before.
Sam Bradbury.
It's been a long couple days for Jeff.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, you know what, guys? I was at Disney till 11:45 last night, and that was when I got off the last ride because I had to ride Seven Dwarfs Mine Train again.
Did you ever get on Space Mountain?
I did get on Space Mountain last night. By the way, Test Track is closing for renovation. I was on that at least 5 times during the whole trip.
I did. All right, here's the big question. Did Saquon Barkley induce Jason Kelce to come back yesterday on the New Heights podcast? He's recruiting him to come back.
Yep.
We have a contributor here to Birds 365. He'll go name us Groats, who has said that he thinks Kelce is coming back.
Oh, he said that the day he retired, he was coming back.
Exactly. He's been playing that tune since they struck up the band. Neither John nor I think he has a prayer. But damn if Saquon wasn't trying yesterday. Did he hit a chord? Did he at least make Jason Kelce think about, it could be cool blocking for Saquon Barkley? What was your response when you heard that, Jeff Kerr?
Jason Kelce's just waiting for the highest offer from Amazon, Fox, CBS. That's
put
my.
ESPN in the mix too. Don't leave out the leader in
Did-
sports.
I don't know if he's gonna go to ESPN.
No,
Peacock?
I
How
saw
about
somebody here on
Peacock?
the stream today say Monday Night Football, that they're thinking about
Yeah.
carving out a spot for Jason Kelsey on Monday Night Football for ESPN.
Yeah, we'll
Do you
see.
think? Do you think? So, do you think Jason's going to be more in the pregame stuff, or do you think he'll be more in the in-game stuff?
I think he's a pregame guy. That's my.
I think he is.
definition.
I think he's an in-game guy.
Do you?
I think he's that good. I
Color
think
guy?
he understands the game that well that he.
Well, I
really
definitely think he
I'm
does.
just going to say this, and keep in mind the company I work for here. Bill Cowher is not under contract. Boomer Esiason is not under contract.
Oh,
really.
Did not know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Dropping
just-
knowledge, Jeff Kerr.
Just putting 2 and 2 together here. Just saying.
All right, so
I
also
made my pitch to him. I don't know if it's going to work, but I made my pitch.
I don't know if you're going to Brazil land, San Paulo land, while you're down in Brazil, but are the Eagles going to play the Cleveland Browns or the Green Bay Packers? What's Jeff Kerr's
Oh man,
thought
you know
process?
what? I think Maurice Hurst kind of spilled the beans, and when I was talking to some people in Cleveland, it does seem like the Browns are the team. But
Now, yeah, see, he's breaking news. I saw the
Yeah.
Packers. One of the Packers guys was talking. And
yeah,
said
Mark
it was
Murphy
Browns.
said it on
Mark Murphy
Murphy was
yesterday.
the one who cut it down to 2 and said
Yeah.
it's us to the
Yeah,
Browns.
I mean, it is the Browns or the Packers. That's everything I was told. But it seems like it's going to be the Browns, and they're really big on picking a big opponent there. I don't understand why the league decided to put that game on Peacock. Like that was the Peacock exclusive regular season
Money.
game.
There we go. Money. I mean,
Oh, they can make money on any broadcast network too.
Well,
Right,
they're
but here's-
also, that's the future. They also want to get people used to streaming because they think that's the future. So that's
And I'm
part of
sure
it.
both of you guys saw this. They trumpeted this pretty good of the guys, and they can figure it out. I have no idea how to do it, but they do. 71% of the people who, for this year's NFL playoff game on Peacock, specifically joined Peacock
Kept it.
to watch
Yep.
the game, 71% retained Peacock thereafter. That's huge. That's
It was
giant.
I
You knew
will
the
tell.
NBC
Yeah.
was going to pay going forward for that. If they can get that kind of result, that kind of
Yep.
return, you pay your millions, billions of dollars for that.
I told people this when I first heard there was 21 million people that watched that wild card game. That is a major, major success for the National Football League. And like you said, Joe, they're keeping it. I don't blame them for doing it. I just would have picked Peacock to have another game. What I really wanted to know is, and again, I was finding out pretty much everybody else was finding out, they were going to play on Christmas. Not only are they going to play on Christmas, there's going to be two games on
Wednesday.
yeah. And
They
the
said
Saturday.
last year we're not playing on Christmas Wednesday, and now they're like, "Oh yeah, we're playing on Christmas."
Oh, yeah, because
Screw
50
you, Adam
million people.
Silver. Yeah,
50 million people watched football on Christmas
yeah.
on last year. So, of course, and I love what Goodell's like, whoa, okay, those guys are going to play the Saturday before so they get their rest and their, it's like the Sunday or Thursday thing. But doesn't that devalue your Saturday slate because it's going to be the same teams?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
They don't care.
Yeah,
They'll just roll them out whenever they want to and get their 20+ million to watch because
So-
they're the big dog that can't be beat.
So this is what, and I was talking to somebody about this. So that Christmas week, you're going to have games on Sunday or Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday again, and Sunday again. Is that correct? And he said, that's the plan.
oh man, yeah.
It's a lot of football.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I break one of my own rules because I try not to get mad at hypocrites because I found out hypocrites don't care that they're hypocrites, and the
That's why
NFL
they're
will make-
hypocrites.
Yeah, the NFL will make this big grand. Oh, we gotta ban the hip drop tackle, but yeah, play on Wednesday, play on short rest. Play on crappy turf. Do this. We care about health. We don't care about health. Man, they're hypocritical, but they don't care.
Right.
I just think, and again, I've watched sports. I'm a fan of sports that oversaturation was a bad thing. I don't know if it'll ever happen in the NFL, but eventually the bubble is going to pop at some point.
You would think. You would think.
I don't know about you, Jeff Kerr, but I've been saying that for 20
Yeah.
years now.
I've been saying it for
it
longer.
never-
I think.
Yeah,
Jerry.
probably
never
even longer
flopped.
than
By the way, the product
just get
stinks.
bigger.
The product stinks.
It's
and they
not
keep
as good
making
as it
worse.
was 20 years ago. It wasn't. Like, you know what, John? Pete Prisco and I were talking about this Monday night. We were talking about how much better the NFL was. But
Yeah.
I sounded just like Pete. I sound like an old head.
Well, I mean, look, it is what it is. And you have this whole group of people, and I got them on Twitter when I made fun of the hip drop tech, and they want to feel like good people and say, whoa, you don't care about people's health. No, it's not that. It's you can't. And by the way, if you want to sit on your high horse, here's what you do. Say, don't play football, because football is a violent sport. And if you don't want people hurt, as Zach Ertz will tell you and every other football player, the injury rate in this league remains 100%. It will be 100% after they ban the hip drop tackle, because it's a violent game. So you're the hypocrite saying, I care about their health. No, you don't, because then you'd be picking in to ban this freaking game. That's what you would be doing.
And it's not
I will tell you this: what a coach said to me, we will, and it was a defensive coach, we will find out a way to adjust to it like we always do, and then they'll find a way to ban what we adjust to.
Yeah.
That's probably pretty accurate. Jeff Kerr, a pleasure, my friend. Go get on.
When are you coming back?
One more time.
I'm coming back tonight. You see, I don't think they want me to leave because my flight was supposed to leave at 6:50 tonight, and it got delayed to 7:30. So.
Wow. Well, we just had Mike Gill. His flight got delayed, what, 4 hours?
Yeah,
Mike said?
3 hours and change. You only
3 hours
pushed back
and change.
40 minutes. You're lucky at this point, Kerr.
What's going on down there? Is there bad weather?
No, it's great weather down here. I don't know. If Mike Gill's using American Airlines, he probably got the same problem.
Well, American, you're screwed. Sorry.
Yeah.
American here.
All right.
Delta's better.
Before we besmirch any other potential clients, we'll say we'll say goodbye to Jeff Kerr. JK, safe flight home, brother.
See you guys. Thanks.
Thanks, bud.
Quickie timeout for Mac and Mac. We got to come back and put a bow on the show.